Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna and I'm a little bit spooky, and today we are playing with the Toffee Brown palette from Huda Beauty. This is from her Obsession range. These little cute minis, beautiful tortoiseshell. Ugh, it's so pretty. I love it. I love the packaging anyway. And spoiler, this is the look we created using this palette, and if you want to see my thoughts, first impression, how it performs, just go ahead and keep watching. So comment down below, let me know your favorite product from Huda Beauty. I gotta say, I think that the mini Obsession palettes are my favorite, and I really like the Mercury Retrograde. She's still #1. But Naughty Nude comes pretty dang close. I don't know. I would have a hard time picking a favorite now. I still think it'd be Mercury Retrograde for the shades. Anyway, let's get into this first impression review situation, testing out this palette and see how it goes. So today we're going to play with the Toffee Brown palette from Huda Beauty. So let's dive in here. This is so pretty. I mean, these colors, my goodness, I'm in love with them. My kind of palette, is this basically Naked Honey? Probably. I think it's a little different than Naked Honey. It's got more warmth in it and more reddy browns, it appears to me. So let's just go ahead and create a little look. I've primed my eyes with the Sigma Eye Base, a little bit of concealer to carve out the brow region just to tidy up, and I've set everything down with some translucent powder because it helps me out a little bit. I don't like having a tacky eyeshadow base. So I'm going to start with a big old fluffy brush here. And I guess we can begin this look with the shade in the corner right here. This kind of light cream tone. And maybe hit over the brow bone. See how that looks? Yeah, it brightens. Okay. It's definitely brightening up my brow bone region, which is nice. I love like a matte, kind of creamy brow bone type of shade like this. Like, I don't like a stark white. I like it to be more of a bone type of shade or a cream color. I love these little Obsession palettes. I've always liked them quite a bit. Let's just go ahead and jump in with that yellow shade in the center because, I mean, it's yellow. And I'm so color coordinated today with my top and the palette. Dear God, why am I like this? So I'm going to take the same little fluffy brush here. It's a Sonia Kashuk. I pick up a little bit of that yellow. Oh, it looks like pollen. And I'm going to start running that through the transition. It's not bad. It's not the most pigmented yellow just on initial application, but it's definitely there. Blends easily, you know, right on par with how Huda's shadows usually perform. I don't know why people were, I saw like some really bad reviews of this palette in particular. I don't know why so far, but I mean, it's pretty sheer yellow, but I did apply it with a fluffy brush, so it is diffusing it quite a bit, which I don't mind because it's gonna be like kind of my transition color. Oh my, even my nails match. I'm so color coordinated. Come on. And just out of curiosity, I want to see how much I can build it up. That builds, yeah, that builds pretty nicely. I mean, anyway, I'm not having any issues. I'm really familiar with Huda's formula, especially her Obsession palettes. They're kind of my preferred of her formulas. They just seem like they're better than the big palettes. I don't know what that is, but I've loved every single of the minis that I have gotten are her Obsession palettes. I've been thoroughly enjoyed. And so far, this has not been any different. I'm going to take a E25. I think I'm going to go into this warm, reddy brown right here in the corner. You have more of a peanut butter kind of brown over here, which I think would pair really nicely with the yellow. And this one would also pair really nicely with the yellow because it'd give it a little more contrast. So I'm going to take this one and kind of start to build the crease up a bit with that E25 from Sigma. This one's definitely got some red in it, and it looks like a really nice shade, so sort of pull that right here, and we'll let that flow into our yellow. So far, none of these browns have pulled pink. I know that can be kind of a trend with Huda's browns, is they'll have a pinky undertone. Even in her, was it the Warm Obsessions, that was one of her first Obsession palettes? That one had kind of a pinky purple undertone to it, which is what I liked about it. I thought it was really unique at the time. But it's like all of her browns tend to do that. But this one appears to be more yellow-based browns, or true warm browns. I think Huda's formula is one that it's an either you love it or hate it type of formula. Either with the undertones pulling kind of pinky a lot of times can be a deal breaker for someone. But her matte formulas have across the board always, to me, been absolutely beautiful and very good quality. The only thing that could be finicky with her is the shimmers, because she does experiment and change up the formula a lot and try new things with them, which is innovative and it's cool. And I think she's found some formulas now that are great, but like back when like Desert Dust came out, those shimmers in it are absolute garbage compared to now. But I remember loving those when I first got them. If you used the glitter glue, they were gorgeous because they had such beautiful nuance in them that I was willing to, use a glitter glue with them. But I think since, at least for me, since Mercury retrograde, she's been using that more creamy emollient formula that's somewhat akin to like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow type of thing. And I've really, really liked that formula a lot. I think her, the more kind of Super Shock type shades, the very emollient, almost creamy. Well, some of them are almost like a true creamy type formula. Others are a little bit drier, a little chunkier. Like there's some variation within the shimmers. And then she has like kind of regular metallics as well that are a little more, your traditional formula. But those you can apply basically like you would a Super Shock shadow with a fingertip. A flat brush can work depending on that particular shade. Some of them perform better than others, and with a brush, that is. But with a fingertip, they all apply beautifully. Or my favorite application technique is a sponge tip applicator. She actually sells sponge tip applicators because of that, because she knows that's the best way to apply her eyeshadows. Now, they're like $20-something. And do I recommend spending that much on a sponge tip applicator? Fuck no. I get hers were probably, reusable, that you could wash them or something. I think they're made of silicone. Either way, get the 99-cent ones from Walmart, the little stubby guys. Like, these little guys, they do just fine. And, yeah. And you can kind of clean them and get a couple of uses out of one, depending on the shade that you used on previously or whatever. But anyways, using one of those, I find I get the best payoff with her shades, and it's very effortless. And the only reason I don't use my finger is because, have you seen these talons? I would tear up an eyeshadow if I try to get in there with them. And I've actually done that even when I don't have nails, just because it's a little bit easier for me to get in and apply the eyeshadow where I want to with a little bit more precision. Because I'm not like I'm blending with them. I remember Tati like shitting all over Christine from Simply Illogical for using those, but I do think Christine was using them to apply like all her eyeshadows and not just shimmers. There's a time and a place for tools like that. I'm just building this warm brown up. It is building up beautifully and flowing into the yellow shade fairly well. This is very like a toffee looking color story. And so it's a pretty accurate description of the colors. I think all the brown obsessions are beautiful, by the way. Like I wouldn't have been mad at getting all three of them, but I was like, look, you do not need all three of them. There's no way you would use those enough to justify the purchase of all three. And this one just really was unique, especially unique to Huda's range. And I really do like the tortoiseshell vibe to it. I think that's very pretty. I like tortoiseshell, I always have since I was a kid. I remember having tortoiseshell glasses when I was in 2nd grade. I thought it was so cool that it come back. I tried to convince my husband to get some tortoiseshell frames. But he's like, no, he didn't like them. I thought he would like tortoiseshell. No. Okay, I'm just blending that out around the edge. I'm going to take a little more of the yellow and clean this little brush off. And come around that edge. Just to blend things out a bit. But I feel like I see kind of polarizing thoughts on Huda's eyeshadows and her brand sometimes. Which I think that comes down to personal preference. Whether you like something or not. But I think she's improved dramatically as a brand. Like maybe when she first came out, it might have been a little overhyped with the rose gold palette, which was a pretty palette. I mean, I still think it's pretty. I never picked it up just because I didn't. For the price, I wasn't interested. This one thing I found that she was a little pricey, and she still is a little pricey on her product, and the price has gone up over the years because she has upgraded the packaging and went to plastic. I wish she had stuck with the cardboard packaging, because upgrading to the plastic just means it's not going to be recyclable, I think, and not as eco-friendly, but I'm not in charge. They look prettier in presentation, but I still think you could have done pretty stuff with the cardboard packaging. I mean, she did some pretty packaging. But I do like the style of the plastic ones. I think they're pretty. They're well done. Just, to me, there was no need to change it and then raise the price to compensate. I thought that was a little shitty. I think, oh gosh, I probably have 10 of the Obsession palettes now, though. Because they still, to me, are good value for the quality and the amount of product that you do get. I thought they were a good kind of well-rounded price point, but they used to retail for like $27, and I was perfectly fine with $27. Something about raising that to $29, though. I was like, huh. But it's $2. but that's $2 closer to $30. And the same with her big palettes being like, about $70. Why am I still blending? I don't need to be blending anymore. That looks really nice. Okay. I'm going to take a little, what do we got here? Precision Firm Blender. I'm rambly. I haven't filmed much in the last couple of weeks, and I feel kind of out of practice and don't know what I'm doing. You take like 2 days off from like your regular job. Do you ever feel like that? Like you just don't know what you're doing when you come back? I remember like after even like a holiday in school, when we'd have like the week off for Christmas, coming back and be like, what is school? How do? And then like when I go back to like sewing or something at the leather shop, I would just be like, I forgot how to turn on the sewing machine type of thing. And when I take time off from this, I'm usually not really taking time off. I'm doing something behind the scenes like editing or whatever. This time I truly took 2 weeks off. Like I didn't open Adobe, but maybe like once, and maybe did some metadata that like nothing, didn't post on Instagram even, like just very, I fell into a depression spiral is what happened, to be real with you, and just did not want to do anything but play Sims 4, which I love Sims, but I do want to talk about that for a minute. Okay, I'm going to go into this shade right here, the deepest brown in the corner, and we're going to add some depth. But yeah, there is a definite correspondence between my mental health and my obsession with playing Sims. I don't know what it is and how it formed, because it's something I enjoy and want to do, but I don't know if it's because I used to use that as an escape when I was having really bad depression problems, and maybe it triggers a little bit of that to come back, like subconsciously. Is it that I'm feeling depressed and decide I want to play Sims? Which I don't think is the case, because I gotten a new computer and was looking forward to playing, but I think it just kind of maybe triggers something in my brain of maybe a less happy time of playing Sims. And I don't get why I have that with Sims 4, because that shouldn't correlate, but with like Sims 2 it definitely does. Okay, it's taking that deepest brown. My outer corner is watering just a little bit, but I see a pattern with that, and I think maybe because I get a little obsessive. I have kind of an obsessive personality with certain things. It kind of takes over my brain a little bit, and I don't want to do anything else, and I let stuff go, and it ends up kind of being an unhealthy pattern develops. This time I just indulged the unhealthy pattern of playing Sims and just falling into that, and then burning myself out basically, because I know I would get bored, in a couple of weeks, because there's only so much you can do. I've never been someone who could just casually play a game. That's why I don't play video games anymore, because unless I get to that point of burnout with it, I can't just casually play. It has to be my end all be all. Like I don't want to leave the house, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to sit on the couch and play, or sit in my little nook and play, and everything else around me suffers. And I can't tell if it's what's causing what in the little depression spiral there, but it's definitely like not a good headspace sometimes. Sometimes when I'm playing, I am actually happy and enjoying what I'm doing. There's other times where it's just playing to distract myself. Heaven forbid I'm alone with my thoughts. Like I usually have video going and watching something and all of that too. Okay, that built up nicely on the outer corner. Sorry about that little segue and rant, but it's just on my mind. Nothing to do with the palette. Yeah, that did build up. It's very similar in tone to the other brown we used. Yeah, it's just like kind of a deeper counterpart to the warm reddish brown. This one I feel like does have a little bit of a purple in it, like a purple undertone in it. Like it's almost, either it's a warm brown, there's a coolness in there. There's like a little bit of blue in there. That makes sense. But it's very pretty. I like that kind of brown personally. I think it's a nice shade. Yeah, I think that looks really good. And there's still that camel kind of yellowy brown in the palette as well. That's a nice mid-tone. All right, now for the shimmers. Oh, let's see, which shimmer do I want to use? So you do have 4 shimmers in here. One of them that looks like it has like kind of or 2 of them kind of confetti looking to them, where they're a little bit like different colors mingled together. Then you have one swirly one that's really pretty, that's kind of a light, creamy champagne color. Yeah, it's just a very light gold. And then you have a true gold, of course, in the bottom. Yeah, just a very true warm gold. And then you have a more bronzy shade. Ooh, yeah, that one's really pretty. It's very vibrant. This nice bronze right here. I'll have swatches on the screen. I've probably already showed you swatches. And then there's a top shade here that's just another... Ooh, that one's unique. It's got purple glitters in it and pinky glitters within it. It's kind of got a nice shift to it. There's like definitely some pinky purple micro glitters and flakes within that shade. And then the other one is like a more amber, vibrant gold. This one is one that has kind of some purpley flakes in there, or some kind of purpley pink micro glitters and shift within it. This one's just a true amber. You got a true gold up here, and then a nice champagne with the marbling in it. So just a nice light, more of a topper type of shade. It's got a little bit of a sheerness to it, and it's kind of that emollient formula. These seem to be kind of pressed firmly. And that was the same with the Haze Obsession palettes. The shimmers were pressed very firm in those in comparison to the Naughty Nudes, where they were very not pressed firmly. They're kind of the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to take my little sponge tip applicator here. I'm going to go with the amber shade. This one right here, it's kind of amber. It's got like gold flakes in it as well. Kind of gold confettis or bits of shadow running through it. It's very metallic looking. So I'm going to take that onto the lid. My little sponge guy. Ooh, yes, yeah, that's very pretty. There's a shade in Naked Honey almost exactly like this. This one would be just probably come down to formula preference if you would rather have Naked Honey and have some more shades or something like this. But they are very close in color story. Like, I don't think you really need both. It would just come down to which brand you prefer and which kind of shades you like better, or which formulas you like better. And the same with the Wet n Wild Call Me Sunshine or something palette that I did the comparison with Naked Honey a while back. That would be another little dupe there for you. I'm happy seeing all these kind of honey tones though on the market, because I really like them. I think they're beautiful tone shades. Yeah, look how pretty that was. That was very easy to apply to. Very emollient formula. Maybe I'll take a little bit of that top one and just try to pop it in the center, see if it does anything. I don't think it is. You can't really see it over that shade. It did brighten it up. Look at that. That gave a little brightness in the center. I just wanted to see what it would do. I really like that amber. That's very nice. Very good pigmentation. And this one, it feels more like a dry Super Shock shadow. It doesn't really feel like wet or anything, but it definitely has kind of that creaminess to it. Yeah, they go on just fine with a finger. I can only get in there a little bit with my ring finger. That float into that dark brown on the outer corner. Very pretty. Is this revolutionary? No. Is this a look that I've done a million times? You betcha. Because I have a type. Obviously, I definitely have a type. I have color stories that I enjoy. I like weird kind of yellowy browns and gold tones. I bet this top shade would be really nice with a fingertip just patted in the center. Kind of like that. Yeah, it definitely gives a little bit of a brightness in the middle. And I'm going to go over to that champagne-y gold, the more like kind of topper soft formula or softer shade, and just hit the inner corner with that. Oh yeah, it's very pretty in the inner corner, very bright. Very nice. Just gonna let that kind of marry over, just pat it. This one feels a little bit powderier, a little more of a traditional kind of powder formula. A little bit smoother than the other shades. The other shades have a little bit of a chunkiness to them, which some of Huda's do. Some will be really smooth, some will be a little bit more textured and kind of chunky, where they kind of pick up the light and it's the bits of product, like they're not like finely milled eyeshadows. And I think if you build them up too much, it can emphasize texture on your lid because it's going to cling to that. Like if you have like a little bit of a wrinkliness or something, like I have on the inner corners of my eyes, like there's some fine lines, and sometimes I can get emphasized if I build it up, or if I apply them like wet or something. Any shimmer, if I apply it wet, will do that. And this isn't an overspray, by the way, on this little marbling that's going through to the bottom. And she did those kind of marbled looking shades in the Naughty Nude palette, and they were so pretty. They really were. And they were a different formula than the other eyeshadows. I think this is the same type of formula, maybe just a little bit more metallic than those were. Cool, so here's how the eyes are looking right now. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my face and do all that on my way back for lower lash line and talk about the details of this palette and my final thoughts. Lower lash line. Let's just take a little bit of that darkest brown first. So I'm going to do I'm just going to use my little firm blender that I used for this shade before in the outer corner. And I'm just going to try to breeze through this real quick. I'm getting a little bit of a bald patch over there because my eye's watering. That's the only reason that's happening. It's not the eyeshadow. That is my watery ass eye. I have very watery eyes. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of that True Gold, I think, on the little blank spot right here with the sponge tip, just for precision. All right, cool. I think that's the extent of the eyeshadow I'm gonna do. Maybe put a little bit of this champagne shade on the inner corner right here. Okay, one thing I do want to say is that when I went to do my face and I was looking in more of a close-up mirror, it would tidy up any fallout or whatever. There's a lot of fallout. There's not from the matte shades, but from the shimmer formulas or the glitters in this, not glitters, from the metallic shades in this palette, there was, as Teresa is Dead would say, glitter bukkake everywhere. There was a lot of glitter all over my face, all over my cheeks, and it was a little bit of a pain in the ass to clean up. So that's, I think, my only downside thus far with this palette would be that. And I mean, that's not a big deal for me because I do my eyes before I do my makeup, because that can happen with, you know, any palette. It's not, definitely not a deal breaker for me with an eyeshadow palette if there's fallout, as long as I can clean it up. So that is the eyeshadow complete. I'm gonna go do my liner, lashes, and all that, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, this is the finished look using the Toffee Brown palette from Huda. On the rest of the face, I used the Patrick Ta blush, cream blush duo in Do We Know Her, and I also used his bronzer and contour in She's Statuesque today, and that was the first time I'm using them. I'm testing them out. There will be a video all about that coming up soon. And I also tested out this Rare Beauty sponge. It's very bizarre. Bizarre. Anyway, and for lips, I went with Pat McGrath Matte Lip Trance in Fever Dream. I thought this nice kind of warm, reddy shade would look good with the eyes. So that's what we got going on there. Oh, and my highlight is Jaclyn Hill Sparks. I will link everything down below that I've used on my face today, as usual. So let's go ahead and just get into the details of this product real quick, talk about some of the claims and what Huda has to say about the Toffee Brown palette, and I will sum it all up in a nice little review at the end here. I feel like my brain is broke today. What is wrong with me? All right, so the Huda Beauty Brown Obsessions comes in 3 colorways. You have Toffee Brown Obsession, Chocolate Brown Obsession, and Caramel Brown Obsession, which all 3 are pretty, but just the yellow one called to me. Would I purchase the other 2? No, not really, because they're just brown palette. I don't need them. I really don't. While they look pretty, if I didn't have a huge collection of eyeshadows, I would be interested in them. But of course, what called to me out this one is that it is that honey kind of color story that I love. And again, another palette that looks like Naked Honey. I know. But this retails for $29. Yeah, let's see what she has to say on the website. Brown never looked so good. Infused with divine swirls of toffee, caramel, and chocolate, these brown obsessions mimic the dreamy tortoiseshell designs that Huda is obsessed with. Effortlessly easy to master, 3 sumptuously pigmented palettes feature 4 delectable finishes. I wish it was noted somewhere which finish is called what within the palette. That would be nice, and just kind of, I would just like to know. But yeah, there is 4 distinct finishes that you can discern. They're not extremely different from one another, but you can tell a difference. 4 delectable finishes in complementary tones that look ravishing on every skin tone: velvety smooth powders, intense metallics, buttery marble cream, shimmers, and irresistible new pearl flake texture. I would like to know, I think that the pearl flake texture is these 2 right here. Obviously that's the marbly one, and that's just a shimmer. I don't feel like that's a new formula, these 2. There's formulas in the Naughty Nude, and I don't think that's a new formula. I think, new pearl flake. I don't think so, but okay. It does have a little bit of flake to it, but so do those other shades that look exactly like this in the, was it the New Nudes? Has it too. What are they talking about? How is that new? I don't know. Anyways, so the Toffee Brown Obsession, a silky smooth blend of caramel, buttercream, and golden toffee mattes paired with a shimmering honey and sugared almond metallics. That sounds like a really tasty description. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty color story. It's something very unique for Huda in her range. you know, Naked Honey did it first. But this is something unique to her range. Most of the time she doesn't really go too yellowy or warm with her product. Well, she goes warm, but it's more of a pinky warm. Whereas these are a little bit more true browns and with a yellow undertone in here and kind of a peanut butter color. Again, I don't think this is a new formula. I don't know what they're talking about, where they got that idea from. Because I swear that's the same formula that's in almost all the other palettes I have. Pearl Flake. It's a flaky metallic, a little bit of texture to it. I swear to you there is that formula in all the other Huda palettes I have just about since Mercury retrograde, okay? And the marbled shade we've seen in the Naughty Nude palette. And of course the one they're referring to as a very honey shade, which is just her standard metallic formula. It's a beautiful formula. Like, all the formulas are nice in here. They performed really well. And as I went into about, you know, applying with the sponge tip applicator, I always say that with Huda's shadows. So yeah, overall, I don't see why anybody was disappointed with this palette. I enjoyed it. Did I have a lot of glitter fallout? Yeah, I did. Glitter got everywhere. Otherwise, it performed exactly to my standard that I hold all Huda eyeshadows to, that I kind of know and love from her brand and how her products work, or her eyeshadows work. Her eyeshadows are really the only thing I've tried, honestly, from Huda. Like, I'm never really interested in any of the other stuff, but I do like her eyeshadows a lot. And I like the color stories that she does. And to me, her palettes are ones that never, photographs and online images and videos never really do justice. They are very nuanced in person. Her undertones are unique. I think unique to the market in general. There's usually something just a little bit special about them. Her metallics always have some kind of pretty shift or undertone in them. They're complex shades. And that's what I really appreciate about her products, is that the complexity of the colors. And I do like that. And they're very easy shadows to work with, in my opinion. Though I do think some people would disagree about that, because you have to use a fingertip or a sponge tip applicator, maybe a glitter glue sometimes. To me, that's not a big deal. I think the only time I really had trouble with one of Huda's palettes was like the Desert Dusk one. Was the Desert Dusk, because it just didn't want to stick to my eyes. Very powdery. And I'm so glad that she's improved that. And the formula is always improving. I mean, even though they're claiming this is a new formula in here, and I think I've seen it before, but whatever. It's very much just like a Super Shock Shadow type of formula. It's a very emollient, creamy type of metallic, and again, I think it appears in the other palettes, but sure, Jan. But Huda does always like innovate and try new things with her products, which is something I do appreciate about her brand. Formulas tend to be a little bit more unique, a little different, and I like that about her. And I do like the color stories that she chooses. A lot of times they're quite pretty. I think the other two palettes in this Brown Obsessions are pretty. They just don't really call my name, whereas this one did, because obviously it looks like Naked Honey. Of course I'm going to go for it. Of course I am, because I can't have enough gold palettes. She has this one that's like, was a cult beauty and website exclusive for Christmas that I keep seeing. I think it's just called the Gold Palette. Do I need it? Not at all. But I want it because it's beautiful. Anyway, that being said, this isn't a disappointing palette to me. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'll continue to use it. And if you like these tones, I think it's a nice one to pick up and try out. And if you're a fan of Huda, I don't think you'll be disappointed. You know, I saw some mixed reviews about this colorway in particular being disappointing, and perhaps in comparison to the other Obsession palettes within this little Brown Obsession range, this one might not be the best performing out of those, but I don't have those to compare to. So to me, this one performs really well and performs on par with all the other Obsession palettes that I have in my collection. So yeah, I like it, and I think it's a good little product. So yeah, that is all for today. Thank you for hanging out with me and playing in some makeup. I know I got a little chatty in this one, but I had some things to talk about, alright? So anyway, comment down below. Let me know if you play Sims 4 and what's your favorite place to get mods. I have downloaded about 10,000 mods. I have a problem. Anyway, yeah, and also let me know how you feel about Huda's eyeshadow formulas in the comments down below, and what your favorite palette from Huda is. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.